Hello, everybody. Not on Twitter, but on Reddit. Ugh, ugh, I saw this. Democrats have made it almost a crime to support Donald Trump. How is that in any way democracy? If I have to be afraid to vote for anyone in an American election, then democracy is already over. And it wasn't Trump who ended it, it was Democrats and Joe Biden. You know, at least they're openly admitting what cowardly little snowflakes they are out loud now, which I didn't expect would take very long, but here we are. Somebody needs to tell Joey over here that you feeling afraid to vote for anyone in an American election is your problem. Nobody has made it a crime to support Donald Trump. Nobody has made it a crime for you to vote for anybody. I don't know how many times you voted, and this goes for anybody that shares his sentiments, but voting is done in private, okay? Nobody sees your ballot. Nobody watches you as you're voting. That's how it's always worked in this country. One person, one vote. You get dividers or little curtain pulling booths, the whole thing. If you feel like somebody could be looking over your shoulder, then you report that. Nobody gets to see who you're voting for. What this guy is saying, without realizing it, is that he feels guilty about supporting Donald Trump because a lot of people hate Trump and a lot of people don't like maggots. Nobody cares who it is he wants to vote for, and nobody could know who he's voting for when he puts in his ballot. But he feels afraid because Democrats have made it almost a crime. No, no Democrats have made anything a crime. The crime is in your own mind. Nobody is telling you that you can't vote or is making it as hard as humanly possible for you to vote. That would be Republicans actively trying to do that through things like gerrymandering and shutting down polling sites and making laws for the extra long lines at the polling sites that do exist that people, mostly in poor or minority neighborhoods, have to travel sometimes hours to get to. Republicans are the ones who then made the laws stating you can't give them water or food while they're standing in line for hours on end because they already shut down their polling sites to try to keep them from voting. Democrats are not the ones stating there should be voter ID. You shouldn't be allowed to vote without a special ID. Another attempt to keep people from voting. Democrats are not the ones that have said, I think we should raise the age of voting. The minute Gen Z, Gen X, Gen Y, whatever the fuck generation they don't like today becomes old enough to vote and overwhelmingly votes for a side that is not them, that's when we start hearing that young people should not be allowed to vote at all. They should still be considered adults at 18. This isn't raise the age of adulthood. This is raise the age to vote. Like nobody is going to know exactly what you're saying there. Like you're not transparent like a pane of fucking glass when you say that shit. Again, Democrats don't do that. The Republicans are doing that. Democrats do not gerrymander. Republicans do that. That's the reason why voting districts in all these different, especially southern states, don't look like neat little blocks anymore. They don't make sense anymore. They look like some fucking misshapen dust bunny you pulled out from under your bed. It's insane, and people don't do anything about it. But Democrats don't do that. The left doesn't do that. Only cowardly, losing, batshit insane Republicans do that. People who can't win legitimately, so they have to sink ever and ever lower to try to stop people from voting, disenfranchise more people and keep them from voting, propose completely unconstitutional and downright illegal methods to keep people from voting. That's what Republicans do. That's what the right does. Democrats don't do anything like that. Democrats sure as hell have not made it almost a crime to support Donald Trump. Believe me, if it were a crime to support Donald Trump, you'd be singing a very different tune right now. We wouldn't be listening to any of this shit if we made it a crime to support Donald Trump or any member of the GOP. Nothing like that has happened, and nothing like that will, unfortunately, because Democrats and people on the left actually believe in the Constitution. We're the ones who believe in people's freedoms. Again, you're talking about voting. You aren't going to be stopped at the door when you go to vote. You're not going to see Meal Team 6 in discount tactical gear standing outside your polling place with the intention of intimidating you when you go to vote. You are not going to find in your lily white neighborhood that there is no polling place because the machine suddenly broke down. And the only place you can go to vote is 50 miles away in East Bumblefuck, where there is now a line wrapped around 3 blocks and is 12 hours long. You are not going to face that when you go to vote. And you are not going to stand in a 12-hour long line dying of thirst, but Democrats had passed a law that said you are not allowed to be given water. Just something we came up with. You're not going to go through that when you go to vote, like other people have because of Republicans. And when you do get inside to place your vote, cast your ballot, nobody is going to be able to see who you are voting for. Again, like in every fucking election and every ballot you cast, you privately cast your vote. Nobody has the right to demand who you voted for, or look over your shoulder, or even take a look at your Scantron. If it's one of those bubble fill-in Scantron sheets that you have to feed into the machine, you feed it in upside down so that the guy attending the Scantron machine doesn't even accidentally see who you voted for. If you have to be afraid to vote, no, you don't have to be afraid to vote. As a lot of Democrats or democratically voting people have discovered, despite all the hardships that Republicans have thrust on them so that they could cast a vote. No, you don't have to be afraid. Just like those people were not afraid, and they were not going to let anybody stop them from casting their vote. But you're afraid. Why? Why is it? What is the real reason you feel so afraid, Joey? Almost a crime. Absolutely false. How is that democracy? You still live in a democracy, you dumb shit. So what is it you're afraid of? I think what you're really saying is that when you brag and boast about how much you love Donald Trump, people don't react very nicely. Maybe you wear a MAGA hat. Maybe you've gone to a couple of protests. Maybe you're one of those assholes that goes to anti-protest. For all I know, you could be one of those tiki torch assholes that has already lost their job. Maybe it's Skeeter's Landscaping, who knows? I think that's what you're really afraid of. That's what you're trying to say. You don't like the way you feel when you tell other people who you support and they don't react the way you want them to. That's why you're afraid. And I'm just spelling it out, you know, going over this step by step. I'm sure people are more than smart enough to have read this little tweet of yours. Yeah, it's from Twitter, but I'm reading it on Reddit. I didn't see it at all on Twitter. People weren't really talking about it. If they watch my stream, they will after tonight, but yeah, I don't know who the hell you are, but you're obviously doing something that is earning people's ire. And now you're going to blame Biden and Democrats. Democracy is already over. No, you dumb shit. You will still have every right and opportunity to vote. You will still be unimpeded when you go to vote, unlike other people that try to vote. That your party, obviously, you're a Republican, that your party has made a concerted effort to keep people from voting. You're never going to have to deal with that. Wasn't Trump who ended it. Sounds like Trump has ended a lot of things in your mind, such as the idea that we definitely still do live in a democracy. And ironically, it's people like me, it is Democrats, it is liberals, it's Gen Z, it's that big blue tsunami that took that last election by storm and hopefully will take the next presidential election by storm. That is the reason we still have a democracy. while you cry like a little bitch because it hurts your feelings when people disagree with you, when people don't like the bullshit you're saying. And like I said, I'm sure people are smart enough to know you don't realize what it is you're saying, but that is exactly what you're saying. Nothing is going to stop you from voting. Nothing ever has, and nothing ever will. Not like so many others, thanks to Republicans. Nobody has to be afraid to put in their vote, like so many others know, because they have actually experienced hardships in going to vote, unlike your fucking dumbass. Probably get a fucking red rolled out carpet for you when you go in to vote in whatever community you live in. And so many people practically are dying of thirst, standing in line for like 8, 10, 12 hours at the one working polling place in their state so they can vote. You don't have to deal with any of that. But you're afraid. Nobody's seeing who you're voting for, but you're afraid. Democracy is already over, but you're still going to be able to vote. You obviously still have all the freedom in the world to speak well of whoever the hell you want to. Nobody is stopping you from saying you vote for Donald Trump. Nobody is stopping you from saying, I like this candidate, or I voted for this person, or I wanted to vote for this person. Nobody is stopping you. If you were going to be stopped, you would be treated the way Republicans treat others who want to vote. Someone would be telling you you shouldn't be considered old enough to vote anymore. Somebody would be telling you there is no polling place in your area. Somebody would be telling you to get your ass to the back of the line because it's a 10-hour wait. Somebody would be staring you down, dressed in tactical gear, outside your polling place, specifically to intimidate you, and has to have the cops called on them. That would be happening to you if you were not allowed to vote. If you knew what it was like to have hardship when it comes to voting, then you would have reason to say democracy is dying. You want to know something? This shit already happens. I've outlined it multiple times. What Republicans do to voters. Where were your tears over the death of democracy during those last elections? I haven't seen you say word one about broken polling machines and long lines and no water and all that kind of shit. No, no, no. Your feelings are hurt. You feel really sad. You're angry. You're upset because I support Donald Trump and people don't like it. You fucking whining little bitch. Wanting to play the victim so bad. Having no thought, no idea, doesn't enter your mind what people in our day and age have gone through just to try to cast a vote. And it's all because of Republicans. No, you're just pissed off because you want people to agree with you when you say you vote for Donald Trump. You want people to bow to you or call you a genius or something for saying you like Donald Trump and nobody's doing it. That's what your problem is. I think that's what a lot of this, like this false outrage over my freedom of speech, I think this is where all that shit comes into play. Nobody is stopping your freedom of speech. It's like with this Elon Musk garbage, with the advertisers pulling out. They're stopping my freedom of speech. No, motherfucker. That's their freedom to pull their advertising from your site. That's that whole free enterprise capitalistic bullshit, all that kind of bullshit that made you a billionaire. That's called smart business sense, actually, to pull advertising from your fucking site. But anyway, it's like the same thing. Nobody is keeping him from saying whatever he wants. Freedom of speech, by the way, more has to do with your government trying to keep you from your speech, from your voice. Advertisers pulling from Twitter is not a violation of freedom of speech. That is just people choosing not to associate with Elon Musk's site anymore. Nothing to do with freedom of speech. And people not liking that you vote for Trump or you support Trump or whatever it is you're fucking saying to them that is making them react with ire has nothing to do with your freedom of speech. It has nothing to do with your right to vote. This freaking outrage about your rights and I can't do this, I can't do that. Nobody is ever stopping you from saying or voting the way you want or what you want. When your government does it, that's actually where it's really important. When it comes to everyday life, freedom of speech and freedom to vote for who you want does not mean if I say I vote for somebody, everybody has to like it. If I say something, everybody has to like it. People are supposed to respect that. No, they're not. People can say whatever the fuck they want. Freedom of speech, right? Nobody has to agree with you. Nobody has to like what you're saying. Nobody has to accept what you're saying or who you vote for. You still have your right to say it or vote it. Go ahead. Like I said, Joey, you're not going to suffer any hardships at your polling place, which is going to be conveniently located very close to your home and is not going to have Navy SEALs standing outside of it with automatic weapons as a means to try to intimidate you away from the ballot box. You're not going to experience any of that. You can go right in anytime you want on election day without having to wait about 10 or 12 hours, and you can go ahead and cast your vote for Donald J. Trump. Nobody's stopping you. Your democracy is not over. Democrats are not stopping you from voting for Donald Trump. Nobody is stopping you from doing any of this. Your problem is that people don't agree with you, which they have the right to do, the same as you have the right to support Donald Trump. So stop crying like a little bitch. This coming from the side who literally had people posted at election spots to intimidate voters, some in full riot gear with ARs. This coming from the side currently ranting about the bad shit they'll do if they don't win next time. This is a bully crying to mommy because somebody finally stood up to his bullshit. Another Republican using the abusive husband defense. I don't want to beat my wife, but she makes me angry. Everything is her fault. Can't be said enough that only horrible fucking people say shit like this. I don't give a fuck what they have to say or think or believe. I just hate them. Don't feel bad. They hate people for the color of their skin. You hate them for the content of their character. I had someone ask me the other day, you can't possibly hate all of them. How would you feel if every Trump supporter just up and died? Elated, overjoyed, rapturous. The net benefit to society of losing all of these anchors around our collective necks would be incalculable. Kinda horrifies myself to say, but I wouldn't care. Apparently, this is where we're at. Seems like a super bad place to be society wise. It's absolutely a bad place to be. Through the Bush years, I dislike conservatives and Republicans, but I never actively wished they would fuck off and die. Now it's become just an all encompassing type of hatred. I truly hate these MAGA fucks for what they're doing to this country. Yeah, I never actually hated an entire swath of my fellow Americans and honestly tried hard to avoid it. But they just keep moving the Overton window further to the right, threatening me and those I love over and over, passing increasingly regressive laws for no other purpose than punishing the people their bigoted ways say need to be punished. We are being dragged towards an uncertain future, and if not stopped, these assholes will make sure it's a fascistic future where they can just hunt the lower classes and marginalized for sport. And in response to that, I've come to wish upon them the same that they would do to me in a heartbeat. If a literal insurrection and attempted coup wasn't enough to make them stop, reflect, and change direction, nothing, not even a literal genocide, will. The only hope at this point is to impose severe legal consequences for those guilty of crimes, and for the rest of us to impose severe economic and social consequences for anyone who supports a traitor or a fascist. I actually agree. All I want to know is, can I have their house and can I have their car? That would be a fucking awesome idea, wouldn't it? It's like I was saying to a friend on Twitter last night, about all these religious freaks that say downright illegal shit. Like, we need to go out there, these people need to die and those people need to die and blah, 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 blah. And, the Bible says it. The Bible says it, or they'll say the Constitution says it, but usually it's the Bible. And they'll tell everybody in their congregation or whatever, uh, Bible's meant to be taken literally, so we should go out and we should do that. And it's like, Okay? Please do. Please do. Because I will immediately, and we will immediately have you motherfuckers, each and every last one of you, locked up for the rest of your lives. It would be so awesome if our prisons were instead filled with these motherfuckers. And then we could be completely rid of them. But then again, I said, this is why they say it, but they don't go out and do it. It's the same with the political pundits and the right-wing pundits who will get really, really close to outright saying these things. You know, like employers, they like to get as close to the line as possible without crossing it. But you know, they all want to say the same thing these stupid ass preachers do. They'll say it, but they never do it. And I'm telling this friend of mine, they never will do it. Ben Shapiro and what's his name, Alex Jones or whoever, they will never be at the head of the pack during the next insurrection. They will never be at the front of the line if there's this civil war they want to happen so much. They will never leave the safety and the comfort of their wheelie chairs in their nice little homes. They won't do it because they know what the consequences are. They know they will rot their asses away in prison or get killed, or at least beaten to a pulp in the middle of the street and completely humiliated for the rest of their lives for being a pussy that got the shit beaten out of them in the middle of the street during a failed insurrection. But they'll still say this stuff. They'll still say it, not because they have any intention of doing it, because they want somebody else to do it. They want other people to do it. And that's why I also say you need to throw the book at these insurrectionist morons. You need to throw the book at these mass shooters, these little pathetic incel fucks. People like this, I agree with this guy, there needs to be swift and severe consequences. Not only are they not some revolutionary, not only are they not some genius, they're a fucking moron. They must have the IQ of a fucking turnip to go out and do this shit for people that don't care about them. For people that could give a fuck less about them or their lives. All they're doing is the dirty work for somebody else. Or the dirty work in the name of shit that doesn't matter to anyone. Dumb people are very dangerous. So I agree with him. And that would be awesome. I feel like there needs to be a catalyst before things will change. Just like with these religious freaks. We need to go out and take care of these people that, please do. Please do. So we can immediately get rid of you. Lock each and every one of you motherfuckers up. And I don't want cops confiscating anything. I want dibs on their car. I want dibs on their house. We can get rid of this rot. This like societal rot. We can get rid of these people, set an example for the rest of them through these perfectly legal and safety ensuring swift and severe consequences for fascism, for insurrection, for coup d'etats. And then you help out the poor disenfranchised people by giving them their cars and their houses. Sounds like a plan to me. Don't threaten me with a good time. Blah, 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 blah. Any and every maggot that exists today is perfectly fine with the destruction of the U.S. as we know it and the installation of some fascist asshole so long as they believe the right people will be hurt. They are the ones that allowed Hitler to seize control. They are the ones who cheered as Mao began the Great Leap Forward. They are the neighbors that turned in Anne Frank. Every single MAGA at this point is really the enemy. What they believe in is more than dangerous, it is existential. They are coming after me and the people I love, and you better believe them. And this is the hill I will die on. Look what you made me do. It's your fault that you get beaten. And this is what it is. Still talking about this guy. These maggot people get seriously upset when others don't want to be abused. They actually don't really listen to a lot of what Trump and other Republicans actually say and whatnot. They'd probably be horrified if they did, or could. Most people in this country want the same general things. Differences are mainly in how to achieve those goals. They have been gaslit so fucking bad for so long. They honestly believe up is down, left is right, and everything the GOP says and does is actually what the Democratic Party is for, and vice versa. They were primed by a sociopathic grifter. Trump and his cultists in a nutshell. Uh-oh. What is this? I saw this episode like
That's right,
5
you and
times.
me, right now. We're having it out. Let's go. Come on, come on.
Oh my God, I remember that episode. Freaking Kyle. I actually felt really bad for Cartman. And that's another thing. This is how I know that we're the good side. Because it is like that. And once we slap Cartman, even though it wasn't hard, and he starts to cry like a little bitch, we're gonna feel bad. We're still gonna feel bad, and we're gonna feel like shit. He doesn't understand, and he wouldn't have learned his lesson, but we're still gonna feel bad. It's almost like being humane is kind of like a detriment to really getting shit done when it comes to really horrible fucking people. But that's what ensures we continue to do things right, even when we're dealing with horrible people. Yep, Republicans repeatedly vote to treat gay and transgendered people like second-class citizens. They vote to take women's rights away, demonize immigrants every chance they get, storm the fucking Capitol and literally fling shit when something doesn't go their way, but they're the victim. Yeah, this asshole is probably talking about the bad shit he'll do if Trump does win, and then whine because people take him to task for it. No accountability whatsoever, too cowardly to stand by their own so-called principles when they do get called out on them. Deep down, they know they should be ashamed for themselves. And they absolutely hate when you hold a mirror up to them to remind them. Hey, if he's really that scared, I guess he could, I don't know, mail in his vote. Republicans are scared that Democrats shun them for not voting the way they want. Democrats are afraid Republicans are going to kill everyone for not voting the way they want. The hilarious thing about the past few years, Republicans bitch about communists, but they support Russia over their own country. I know that's really weird. I'm old enough to remember watching on TV. It was in movies, it was in TV shows, it was in jokes. It was just part of the American lifestyle, I guess. American culture at the time. Straight up until 91, the big fear were the Russian commies, the Reds. Ever since the Cold War started. And when I was younger, that was the big national fear. The Russian commies. The Russians is coming. The Russians is coming. We hate communists. We hate Russia. That's all it was. Let's duck and cover in case of Russian nukes touching down in buttfuck Idaho. And now you've got hardcore fucking maggot Republican, right-wing conservatives bitching about communists in the form of freedom-loving people in this country and praising Russia. I don't say anything about people not bringing it up a lot because a lot of people, especially online today, aren't old enough to remember when everybody was afraid of Russians. It's just fucking wild. They bitch about communism out of one side of their mouth and praise Russia with the other. Russia today is not communist, it's a dystopian oligarchy, which is what the Republicans want. Russia is a communist menace when they want to be, but it's a glorious bastion of capitalist whiteness when they want it to be, and a corrupt oligarchy when they want it to be. Even when it was Soviet, it wasn't truly communist. It was more a Marxist Leninist dictatorship. Clean Air and Clean Water Acts. Republicans are quite literally pro pollution and anti healthcare. Right up until their insurance declines to cover Ozempic, Wegovy, and Viagra, then they'll cry for government intervention. Poor kids with cancer won't lead to national health care, but old rich white guys that need boner pills will. Don't forget, Republicans are also responsible for the AIDS epidemic, the crack cocaine epidemic, war on drugs, border wall, MTG, Boebert, Johnson, 9/11, busted unions, a broken middle class, privatized healthcare, privatized prisons, the fucked up postal system, COVID, high cost of education, drug prices. I can go on. Well, if you support Trump, you are a racist sociopath and you should be shunned. Sorry if that offends you. Exactly. Sorry if it offends you, but I'm not going to be able to stop you from voting. Fuck out of here with that bullshit. Like, how many Matryoshka dolls worth of nonsensical conspiracies is it going to take to get just one of these assholes to step back for a second and say, wait a minute? I'll bet most of them don't really care that it's bullshit because it makes them feel powerful. If enough of them repeat the same lies, it'll be treated as a legitimate viewpoint and then they will get their way. Get called out in a way they can't possibly back out of and they'll go, "Whoa, I didn't know that. I thought it was the other way." Then they'll immediately continue spewing the same bullshit. Yeah, I'd say something about that, but it would be kind of insulting to a family member. Gee, it's like you can't even voice support for a fascist crime boss without people saying you're a bad person. It is amazing that maggot Republicans think supporting what are hate groups or hate philosophy is somehow equivalent to people supporting equal rights and freedoms. I like Nazis, you like gays, so it's the same thing. No, it isn't. Conservatives do this shit all the time. It's the preamble to justify their behavior when they want to do something. Doing the thing they want to do, then working their way backward toward justification. They do it with the cheating their politicians are always caught doing. Oh, well, we had to cheat because the Dems were doing it. No evidence about Dems doing it. So this is the same shit, except, well, obviously we have to get rid of our political opponents because Dems are making it the only option we have. I can guarantee you that nobody has ever arrested this man because he voted for Donald Trump. Typical projection, accuse others of doing exactly what you're doing. I cover myself in shit, smell like shit, eat shit, breathe shit, do nothing but talk shit all the time, but it's everybody else's fault that they don't like me. The fuck your feelings crowd sure has their little fifis all in a twist these days. Eat shit, losers. Yes, this is the perfect rewriting of it. Here, let me fix that for you. Republicans have made it almost a crime to support freedom. How is that anyway a democracy? If you have to be afraid to be a woman, gay, black, Muslim, or even voting Democrat, then dictatorship is on the horizon. And it won't be the Democrats or Joe Biden that brought it. It'll be the Republicans, MAGA, and Trump. What part of actions have consequences does this idiot not understand? If you choose to support the narcissistic criminal who wants to destroy democracy, people are going to think you're a dumb asshole. It's not illegal for you to support said criminal, but it's not illegal for everyone else to think you're a dumb fuck. Jesus Christ, I'm just so fucking tired of these MAGA dumbasses. How exactly is it almost illegal? I see Trump signs, Trump stores, pickup trucks with flags, posts on social media every fucking day clogging my timeline. The same performative martyr BS that oppressed evangelicals preach. Because these people want to be hateful toward others and get rewarded for it. It's a big societal shift for them to start experiencing consequences. Aren't these the same people who keep saying we're not a democracy, we're a republic? Don't you get it? That's why he said the word democracy. It's supposed to be a jab at those of us who know it's a democracy. He's trying to appeal to our goodwill. He's trying to make us think, whoa, he really got us. It is supposed to be a democracy. So if there's something he don't like and he bitches about how he thought it was a democracy, that's supposed to make us take his side. I'll guarantee he is that guy who claims it's a republic, not a democracy, like it means anything. None of that is true. He knows none of it is true. We know none of it's true. He knows that his party hate democracy and actively want it ended, preferably by violent means. Saw the Fox Weekend crew weeping this morning over a report that younger people in America are turning their back on religion in droves, which to them is the reason they vote blue. No discussion whatsoever as to why people are turned off by religion. Is there anything anywhere these assholes are not afraid of? Why? No one sees your fucking ballot. Typical persecution fetish. Make a claim that something is true, which is absolutely false, so you can bitch about it. Voting is private. Nobody is going to know that you voted for the Fanta Fuhrer unless you tell them. And that is exactly what I said. And what I will say again. Nobody would even know that you like Donald Trump unless you tell them. Nobody would know who you're voting for or what your views on your vision of this country is unless you bring it up. I will guarantee you, none of these people, this asshole included, is being asked by anybody for their opinion on who should win the next presidential election. I can put money on it that this guy in particular makes sure it's loud and clear for everybody around him to know that he loves Trump and he hates gays and he thinks women shouldn't have reproductive rights and he hates immigrants and he screams at brown people in line at the bagel shop. I will put money on that that's who Joey is. Because all these people, you got them pegged. And I'm taking off.